Please, the court.
You solemnly swear the evidence in the court and jury in the case now hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Good morning.
Good morning, Your Honor. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, Mr. Brennan, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Could you please introduce yourself to the jury and spell your last name for the record?
My name is Yuriy Bukhenik. My last name is spelled Bukhenik.
Mr. Bukhenik, where do you work?
I work for the Massachusetts State Police.
What is your role with the Massachusetts State Police?
I'm currently assigned as a sergeant with the Norfolk District Attorney's Office in the Homicide section.
I want you to take us back before you became a state police trooper with the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office. Where were you born?
I was born in Lviv, Ukraine.
Did you immigrate?
Yes.
How old were you when you immigrated?
I was 9 years old when my family moved to the Boston area.
Did you attend public schools?
Yes.
Through high school?
Yes.
Tell us what you did after high school.
After high school, I enlisted in the United States Marine Corps.
Why did you enlist in the Marine Corps?
It was right after 9/11, and my friends and I.
Go ahead.
My friends and I decided to serve in the nation's armed forces.
Did you serve in the Marine Corps?
I did.
Did you go through training?
I did.
Did you learn any skills?
My specialty was military police, and I attended the military police school at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri.
Through your military service, did you receive top secret clearances?
Yes, my first duty station was with Marine One Presidential Helicopter Squadron. The duty station requires a top secret Yankee White STI clearance, and as a result, I attained that clearance and held it throughout my career.
Did you engage in any special assignments?
The Presidential Helicopter Squadron is a special assignment. We provide security for the presidential helicopters and presidential assets. With that clearance, we read into a SCI program, which is a need-to-know basis type situation.
How long were you in the military for?
4 years.
When were you discharged from the Marines? What year?
2006.
Honorably discharged?
Yes.
After you were honorably discharged from the Marines, what did you do next?
I had a passion for law enforcement, and I wanted to serve my community here in Massachusetts. So I left California and came home and applied for various police departments, ultimately getting a job with the VA Hospital Police here in the Boston region.
When did you transition from the VA to the Massachusetts State Police? What year?
I actually transitioned to the Attleboro Police Department. I worked there as a patrol officer, SWAT team member, and then in 2011, I transitioned from Attleboro to Massachusetts State Police.
When did you join the Homicide Unit?
It was May of 2015.
And have you been in that position since?
I have.
And you're now a sergeant in that?
I am.
I want to ask you about the structure of the Homicide Unit for the State Police. How many different troopers work in the Homicide Unit at Norfolk County DA's office?
We have a range from 2 to 6 troopers working in the homicide section over the years that I've been there. Currently, we have 6 homicide detective troopers in the section.
What type of cases does your unit investigate?
Our unit investigates primarily unattended deaths. Unattended deaths are those that are not attended by a physician. A variety of deaths, including natural deaths of old age, medical conditions, accidental industrial accidents, obviously homicides, overdoses. We have suicides as well. And those vary in age on the victims that pass, whether they're stillborn infant deaths, children that pass away of SIDS, or unfortunately, teenage suicides.
Have you been to a number of scenes, a number of cases?
Yes, I have.
Do you handle more than one case at a time?
Yes, we do.
When a case, an unintended death, is notified to your office, is that routine or is it by statute?
The notification comes in due to the statute requirement in Massachusetts. Under Mass General Law, Chapter 38, Section 4, the authority is given to the district attorney in each county to investigate those deaths. They appoint designees, and within Norfolk County, those designees are law enforcement agents from the Massachusetts State Police. So in our county, the Massachusetts State Police, with the district attorney's authority, investigate all unattended deaths.
You mentioned that it's called the homicide unit. Are many of the deaths that you investigate not homicides?
Primarily, the death investigations are not homicides.
When you walk into a call, did you have a preconceived notion whether it's a homicide or not a homicide?
When we walk into a call, we take in all the evidence, so we do not know exactly what we're going to have as a finding. We follow the evidence, we follow the information that we're provided, that we learn throughout the investigation. At times it's obvious there was a homicide when the local agency that's reporting the death says that there was a shooting reported and there's a deceased person at the scene. So yes, we will know that it's most likely a homicide, but we don't make a preconceived notion or determination before we get there.
You said there are a number of cases that go through your office. Do you work investigations by yourself?
Never, no.
Are investigations assigned to the group as a whole, or is a particular trooper in the unit?
We have case officers, and the assignment of the responsibility when you will most likely be a case officer is scheduled a month or so in advance. So each trooper has a responsibility of a 24-hour period that they are on call. They respond to the scenes, whether it be a train strike versus pedestrian, or a vehicle, or a suicide by hanging. They respond, and then if they need assistance or they think that there's something more, additional resources are called out, like crime scene services, which helps us document scenes, etc.
Have you ever been assigned a homicide or a homicide investigation?
Yes.
In the cases where you're assigned, do you investigate the case alone?
Never. It's always a team effort. Every case requires a team effort. Just the amount of work that goes into collecting evidence, interviewing witnesses, interviewing involved parties, interviewing the suspect. All those tasks that are required in collecting surveillance footage require manpower and time and resources. And so every investigation, although it has a case officer, it requires a team effort of individuals to work together in concert to accomplish a successful investigation.
Are you often working on more than one investigation at the same time?
Yes, we are.
If you were the case officer, would you have other resources you would use to help with the investigation, other units in the Massachusetts State Police or local police?
Yes, typically we partner up with the local police detectives, and when we're conducting interviews, it's a state trooper and a local detective that are conducting those interviews or collecting surveillance footage and so forth. And that there's a reason behind that. The reason why we pair up is not just the manpower, it's also that we work in a dangerous line of work, and people could lose their life, people could get injured, or unfortunately people could get fired or retire and no longer be available to testify, provide their testimony, or be a resource in the future.
Is it a common practice that when there's an investigation, more than one trooper will appear at many events?
It is very common and preferred. Unfortunately, in the real world, it's not always possible. A trooper can be responding to a scene and just to simply grab something from another trooper and could be approached, and a small brief interview could happen, or if a trooper's at a home talking to a witness and others show up willing to provide information, he has to conduct that interview by himself because of the resources aren't available for him.
Let's talk about the assignment of this case. You said that there's case assignments, a schedule that is made in advance.
Yes, sir.
On the day or the morning of January 29, 2022, do you know who was assigned to take calls for new cases?
Yes, before 7 a.m. on the 29th, it was Michael Proctor that was assigned to be on call.
Is there a supervisor assigned as well, in addition to a trooper that's not in a superior position?
Yes, every day there's a supervisor assigned in addition to the on-call trooper. There's a supervisor that's also available for any reason at any time to respond, assist that trooper if there's any questions or issues that come up.
Was there a supervisor assigned that morning?
Yes, there was.
And who was that?
It was myself.
When did you first hear or learn anything about this call or this case?
In a unique fashion, this call actually came from the Troop H headquarters, which is the field services portion of the state police, the uniform patrols that service the Metro Boston area. The headquarters duty office contacted me, I think by mistake, misdialing the number because our names and numbers were listed one above the other. So the call actually came into me. I took the call and advised them that I would call the on-call trooper for that day, and they would contact Canton PD and take the appropriate steps.
About what time did you receive a call that morning?
Approximately 6:44 in the morning.
After receiving the call around 6:44 that morning, did you contact anybody to assign a case manager, or did you get involved personally?
I called Michael Proctor and told him to reach out to Canton and follow up on the report of a male in a snowbank.
And this is around 6:44 a.m.?
Yes, sir.
What did you do next?
I waited for a call back from Michael Proctor, and he reported the details of, yes, there was a male found in the snowbank in Canton, and that they were requesting our assistance as he had sustained injury and was unresponsive and had been transported to Good Samaritan Hospital.
What was the plan at this point?
At this point, where I learned that he had sustained injury and there was a heavy blizzard in the area, I decided myself to get dressed, shovel out, and respond to Canton.
Were you required to get involved and go to Canton that morning?
At this point in time, I was not, but I thought that it would be prudent on me to, at the very least, shovel out, because another call could have come in and I would have had to respond to that, and the driver would have been shoveled.
Were you in touch with Mr. Proctor?
I was.
Did you have any plan to meet him?
Yes.
When and where?
We decided to meet at the Canton Police Department.
Okay. And about what time were you going to leave your home, or did you leave your home?
I left my home probably around 8:50, and I know I arrived to the Canton Police Department approximately 9:15 in the morning.
Did you know the address where the person was found in the snow?
At that time, I learned the address once we got to the police department, but it had no significance for me. I did not know where it was.
Why did you plan to go to the Canton Police Department instead of going to the scene first?
The Canton Police Department, fire department personnel, and paramedics had already cleared the location. So we, again, given the conditions, we were in a controlled environment inside a police station to exchange information, collect any evidence if it was available, and the police department safety and security of that would have been the best location for it.
You mentioned that you arrived at the Canton Police Department around 9:15 a.m.
Yes, sir.
Was Mr. Proctor there when you arrived?
Mr. Proctor was there walking in with me.
When you went in with Mr. Proctor that morning, who did you meet?
We went in, we met with multiple Canton police personnel, one of which being Sergeant Good. He was one of the first responders to the initial scene.
Did you receive any items from Sergeant Good or any of the police officers while you were there?
Yes, we didn't receive it, but we were shown a broken cocktail glass, bottom of a broken cocktail glass. We were provided Mr. John O'Keefe's cell phone, and I was also shown a brown paper bag with 6 plastic Solo cups in it, containing a what was reported to be blood in the snow.
When you were shown these items and had a discussion with the Canton Police Department, were any decisions made about the future of the investigation? You had shared with us earlier that typically the state police pair up with local detectives. Did you do that that morning?
That morning we did not. We had learned that there was a loose familial connection through town channels with the address and possibility of a Canton police officer or detective. So Canton police, out of overwhelming precaution of impropriety, not that there was one, decided to step away from any interview investigation assistance with us.
Has that happened in your career before?
Yes, it has, yes.
Since there would be no local detective, did that change your role at this point in the case, your involvement?
It did not change my involvement, but it did bring up a concern of manpower. We are obviously limited by staff. The weather conditions also further exacerbated that issue. So transportation was an issue, timing is always an issue, and you can never have enough manpower.
Did your role become more prominent given there was no local detective involved?
I would have to pick up the slack. I'm a team player. I always want to assist in any which way I can to make others' life easier.
And you were Mr. Proctor's supervisor?
I was.
After you received the broken glass, the cell phone, and you saw the plastic cups with the blood in them, where did the evidence next lead you?
Based on the information we had learned and the evidence, we decided that we needed to speak to the individuals who were last in contact and present at the scene when Mr. O'Keefe was found.
Did you have any specific other information that you were following at that point?
Yes, we had statements made by the defendant that she was questioning whether she had hit him, and to that extent.
Had you focused in on a target at this point or reached any conclusions about your investigation?
No, we were still in the information and fact-finding portion of the investigation. We are not ruling out people as much as we're not ruling people in as much as we're ruling people out. So we need to get as much information as possible that is in physical form, statement form, and circumstantial factors as well.
So where did the evidence take you next?
Following 3 interviews conducted in Canton with witnesses, we proceeded to the Good Samaritan Hospital because, based on the information I learned, I needed to put eyes on Mr. O'Keefe and his injuries. I need to see what exactly the witnesses were describing.
Do you remember who you spoke with that morning before you decided that you wanted to go to the hospital to see Mr. O'Keefe?
Yes, we interviewed Miss Jen McCabe, Mr. Matt McCabe, and Mr. Brian Albert at the McCabe residence.
How long, or about what time did you get to see Mr. O'Keefe?
We got to see Mr. O'Keefe, I would approximate probably like 12:30, maybe 1 o'clock-ish.
Why
the
did you want to
afternoon.
see him specifically?
I wanted to see the injuries for myself, the location of the injuries, the types of injuries, the extent of the injuries, and overall condition that his body was in would be very telling. The mechanism of injury, how it might have taken place, and also the correlation of any evidence at the scene with those injuries.
You don't have any medical degrees, do you?
I do not,
How
no.
about biomechanical engineering?
No.
Do you have life and job experience in these situations?
Yes, 20 plus years of law enforcement investigating car crashes, pedestrian crashes, and 10 years in homicide.
Your role is not to make a diagnosis, is it?
No, it's not.
Is this information and your interpretation based on your experience important in guiding what you're going to do in the investigation?
Yes, it is very.
Do you ultimately get to Good Samaritan Hospital?
Yes, we do.
Okay, take us through what happens when you get there.
When we got to Good Samaritan Hospital, the driving conditions were treacherous. It took us 45 minutes from Canton Center, basically, to Good Sam, which should be a 15, 20-minute drive. At one point, I had to get off the highway because I couldn't tell if I was on the roadway, if I was off the roadway. So the guidance of trees on the side of the road through the town streets actually helped us guide the path to Good Samaritan. Once we arrived, we walked to the emergency department where Mr. O'Keefe was initially treated and where he remained. Upon arrival, we spoke with medical personnel who advised us that the defendant had at that point been discharged from the hospital and that Mr. O'Keefe was still in the emergency room and available for us to view.
At that point, you said the defendant had been discharged. She was not the defendant at that point.
No, she was not, no.
Did you have a chance to enter a room or actually see Mr. O'Keefe?
Yes, I did.
Had he passed at that time?
Yes, he has.
When you walk in the room, what do you see?
When I walked into the room, I saw a medical bed in front of me. Mr. O'Keefe was covered with a sheet, as is typical with any victim that had passed. There was a pile of clothing to the left, at his feet to the left of the bed. I observed several injuries on him once I lifted the sheet, and those were documented with photographs by Crime Scene Services member of the State Police, who also met us at the hospital for that purpose.
So there were other members of the team that were there to photograph
Yes,
Mr. O'Keefe and some of the injuries?
yes.
How many people were in the room with you and Mr. Proctor when you were observing and viewing Mr. O'Keefe?
There was a total of 3 of us, myself, Mr. Proctor, the Crime Scene Services individual. There was medical staff coming in, nurses asking us if there was anything that we needed to assist us with. But from law enforcement, it was 3 of us there.
Now, I don't want you to try to give us a diagnosis or provide us an opinion of the cause of any injuries, but rather I want you to share with us, as you're observing Mr. O'Keefe in that hospital room, what are you seeing and what is standing out to you?
I saw pooling of blood underneath his head. There was seepage of blood into the sheets. There was also swelling, discoloration, a large amount of blood pooling underneath his eyelids. There was no abrasions or injuries that I observed to that region. So to me, through my training experience, I took that as a subject.
Not to medical, not to any medical observations, but just you as law enforcement.
Yes, Your Honor.
I'd ask you not to give your personal interpretations of what you saw. Rather, I want you to share with the jury what you saw through your view.
There was also a tiny cut, laceration to the eyelid area.
You're pointing to your right eye. Could you be
Yes.
specific, please?
Also on the left nostril, there was a very small laceration there. Both were not actively bleeding. There were a series of cuts and bruises to the right arm, which extended from approximately mid forearm up to the mid tricep area of Mr. O'Keefe, and they were concentrated on the exterior of the arm. There was no other injury or marks on the interior or inside of the arm. There was also a bruise on that same arm on the back of the hand. It was light in color. It wasn't a profound discoloration as the eyes appeared to me. There were also injuries to abrasion or cuts, scrapes to the knee, I believe.
Which knee?
The right knee. I apologize.
You had first described swelling in the right eye, and then you had just said the eyes. Could you be specific? Was the swelling in one or both eyes when you saw Mr. O'Keefe?
When I saw Mr. O'Keefe, the swelling was in both eyes. It might not have been exactly symmetrical, but there was swelling, discoloration in both eyelids of Mr. O'Keefe. There was also blood pooling in the cavity of the eyeball, both sides of the eyeballs.
Do you know about what time it was that you visited Mr. O'Keefe and made these observations?
It was sometime between 12:30, 1 o'clock, and 2 o'clock, I would assume.
You mentioned that there was pooling on the back of Mr. O'Keefe's head. Did you look for any injury?
Yes, we looked for injury. All I could tell, there was bleeding happening. I could not tell exactly what the extent of the injury was, not being a medical professional.
You mentioned there were a pile of clothes in the floor. Is that uncommon?
No, it's not uncommon at all.
Did you have any opportunity, or did you decide to look at those clothes?
Yes, what happens, the reason those clothes are on the floor is that for medical therapy, for medical treatment, the victim has their clothing removed for access to the body. There's obviously all sorts of equipment and medical procedure that's done. So that clothes is discarded. We knew that it was Mr. O'Keefe's clothing. We knew that it would be important to aid us in the investigation. So that clothing was picked up, identified item by item, and bagged. It was in a soaking wet state with moisture and other debris on it.
When you are looking at Mr. O'Keefe, do you have to touch him and move him?
Yes, during our investigations, we're not simply looking at photographs. We are there in the scene. We are smelling it. We are touching it. We are, unfortunately, with certain pungent scenes, we were tasting it. That's the reality of us breathing in the scene when we're living it through the investigation.
Do you wear any type of protection?
Absolutely. We wear gloves. At times, we wear other PPE, personal protective equipment.
When you looked at Mr. O'Keefe's clothes, you said that you bagged them. Did anything stand out in particular about his set of clothing?
In particular, we were missing a sneaker of his. That was very significant to me. It caused me to have Michael Proctor contact the paramedics that transported Mr. O'Keefe to the hospital and confirm with them, conduct a secondary check that sneaker was not left behind in the ambulance.
Why was the missing sneaker significant to you at that point?
At that point, our theory had evolved to a vehicle strike based on the injuries, and I was suspecting that he was hit out of his shoes.
Is there a phrase that's common in these type of situations?
Yes.
And what's that?
Knocked out of your shoes?
Did you know where the other sneaker was?
I did not, no. but I suspected, since it was missing, and once the reports came in that the paramedics, EMT personnel did not find the other sneaker, that it would be somewhere where Mr. O'Keefe was found or where he was initially struck by a vehicle.
Did you and Mr. Proctor have an opportunity around that time, 12:30, 1 o'clock, to go back to that address to look for the sneaker?
We did not know.
Why not?
Again, during the critical early hours of an investigation, timing is essential. We have to make sure we get to any and every location that could possibly have evidence and prevent that evidence from being destroyed, altered, or concealed. So we are prioritizing missions. And with the resources available at that time, I conferenced with my boss and advised him of the current status of the information that we had. And he stated that he would go out and marshal up resources to conduct a search.
Is this an example of the team approach of the state police at the homicide unit?
Assisting.
After having this information, making these observations of Mr. O'Keefe, yourself, and bagging the clothes, where did the evidence lead you next?
At this point, once we viewed the clothing and Mr. O'Keefe, we had to go talk to the last person that saw him, and that would have been, at the time, his
Who'd you go see?
the defendant, Your Honor.
The prior question wasn't answered, so prior questions.
Did you know where Miss Reed was at that point?
Yes, we had learned that she traveled to her parents' home in Dighton.
Did you learn about any, or did you have any interest in any physical evidence at that point?
Yes, with the missing shoe, her stating that did I hit him, and along that line of statements, I was interested in the vehicle that she was operating that night.
How far was Dighton from where you were at Good Samaritan Hospital?
Typically, I would say it's probably a 35, 45-minute drive. With the driving conditions, it took us all of an hour, 15 minutes.
Who was driving?
I was driving.
Were you in a issued vehicle, or were you in a personal vehicle?
No, I had to drive my personal pickup truck due to the weather. My cruiser would have never made the unplowed streets of the area.
Was Mr. Proctor with you?
He was.
Were you by his side the entire time?
Mr. Proctor and I were together the entire day.
You decided to go or drive towards Dighton. Did you ultimately make it to Dighton?
Yes, we did.
Do you know what time you arrived in Dighton approximately?
Approximately 3 p.m.
On your way down to Dighton, did you learn any further information beyond what you had known when you had left Mr. O'Keefe at Good Samaritan?
Yes, at one point, Michael Proctor took a call from Jen McCabe, and she further elaborated and provided information stating that she remembered.
Sustained.
After receiving that information, is there something specifically you wanted to look at when you got to Dighton?
Yes, we wanted to look at the rear right tail light. Based on the information provided, it was allegedly to
Let me
be.
stop you there. I just wanted to know what you wanted to look at.
Yes, sir.
I don't want to relate conversations of somebody who's not here. And so you had an interest in looking at the right rear tail light?
Yes,
Do you know what type of vehicle you were looking for?
we were looking for a large black Lexus SUV.
When you made your way down to Dighton, you said you finally arrived. How did you know you were at the right address?
The defendant provided her parents' address to us.
Before you got to Dighton, after learning of new information and the information you already had, did you make any arrangements?
Yes,
tell the jury what you did on the way down to Dighton.
On the way down, we contacted Dighton Police Department and gave them a heads up that we would be coming down for an investigation, and we were looking to most likely seize a vehicle. And we were requesting their assistance in contacting a local tow truck company that they were contracted with, and or also to assist us at the scene being a uniformed presence.
When you pulled up to the address, did you make any immediate observations while you were still inside your truck?
Yes, the road was not well plowed. There was only enough clearance for one vehicle. So it was difficult to find a place to park, and maneuverability was also challenging.
Did you make any observations of the home or the driveway before you got out of your truck?
Yes, the home is to the left of the driveway. The driveway was not plowed either. There was a large black Lexus SUV parked in the driveway.
Was the front of the SUV facing you or the back of the SUV?
The back of the SUV was closest towards us.
How far from the SUV were you when you first parked at that address?
Probably, it's the length of the driveway. Based on my memory now, it would probably estimate to be 60 feet or so.
Did you make any observations of the SUV from that distance?
It was covered with snow, like it's been either sitting outside or driven outside in the snow, so it was exposed to the elements.
What was your next steps?
We waited for Dighton PD to arrive to assist us. Once they arrived, Michael Proctor and I exited and proceeded up the driveway. I told Michael...
Let me stop you with what you said. I want to just know what you observed.
Okay.
As you're walking up the driveway, how close to that SUV did you get at its closest?
At its closest, I got as close as me and the defense table, which is probably 10 to 12 feet.
From the 10 to 12 feet, did you notice anything remarkable about the SUV?
Yes, there was a large piece of red taillight cover missing from the vehicle.
After you made an observation of a large piece of the red taillight cover missing, did you do anything else relative to the SUV at that time?
Yes, I told Michael to get close.
I'm not interested in what he did. What did you do? What did you see?
I just saw the damaged, missing taillight cover. I did not touch it. We did not approach it with physical contact. So,
Did you see where Michael Proctor went?
yes,
How close to the car or the vehicle did he get?
within 3 feet.
Did he ever touch it?
No.
Where did you and Michael Proctor go next?
We proceeded to the front door of the home to make contact with the residents.
And how clearly did you see that missing piece? What's your level of certainty?
100%.
Did you knock on the door?
Yes, I did.
And were you invited in?
We were, but not through the front door due to the weather and the piled up snow. We couldn't open the storm door. Mr. Reed invited us into the home through the garage. He opened the garage door for us and welcomed us inside.
When you went inside, what did you see?
When I went inside, I saw Mr. Reed, Mrs. Reed, and the defendant sitting on the couch.
You've referred to the defendant a number of times as Miss Reed. Do you see the defendant here in the courtroom today?
I do.
And the person you spoke to that morning, can you point that person out and describe an article of clothing they're wearing?
She's sitting in the middle right there in front of me wearing a black suit with yellow-colored metal buttons on it.
When you walked in, did you say that the defendant was sitting on a couch?
She was.
How close were you when you were speaking to her?
Within 12, 15 feet. We were in the same room, in the living room area.
Was Mr. Proctor there?
He was.
Was Mr. Proctor speaking to her?
He was.
Were you speaking to her at the same time or interchanging?
We were both communicating with her, a team approach.
I want to ask you about that conversation you had with Ms. Reed. Before I do, Your Honor, may I approach briefly?
Okay. All right, so is it appropriate for me to give an instruction right now, Mr. Brennan?
I would defer to counsel.
Mr. Jackson, you want me to
I'm
give
not
a
asking for one.
humane practice instruction?
Yes.
Yes. All right. So, folks, you're about to hear testimony regarding a statement or statements that were allegedly made by or attributed to Ms. Reed. I'm going to instruct you in more detail at the end of the case about this matter. However, I want you to understand that at this time, as the statements are offered into evidence, that before you may consider the content of any such statement made by the defendant as evidence, you're going to have to make a preliminary determination about whether or not it can be considered by you as evidence at all. In your determination, at the end of the case, you're not to consider any such statement by the defendant as evidence, even though it's presented to you through a witness at trial, unless, from all the evidence in the case, you first determine that the Commonwealth has proved beyond a reasonable doubt that Ms. Reed made the statements she's alleged to have made, and that she made it voluntarily, freely, and rationally. All right, go ahead, Mr. Brennan.
Thank you, Your Honor. Sir, I want you to begin from when you were in the living room, your beginning conversation with the defendant, the presence of both her father and mother. You're with Mr. Proctor. Can you share with us the conversation that you had with the defendant?
Yes. She stated that she's willing to answer our questions, but she didn't want to go into too many details. That's how the conversation began. She provided us the fact that Mr. O'Keefe was hanging out with a friend of his at 5 p.m. at the 1 Meadows Ave residence, following which he proceeded to CF McCarthy's in Canton, where the defendant stated that she met him approximately at 9 p.m. She was drinking vodka sodas. Mr. O'Keefe was consuming Bud Light beer. After CF McCarthy's, they proceeded to the Waterfall Grill and Bar. At this point, the defendant was asked if she brought a beverage with her from CF McCarthy's to the Waterfall establishment, to which she stated she didn't think so. After the Waterfall, the defendant stated that she dropped Mr. O'Keefe off at 34 Fairview. She was asked if she saw him go in the house. She stated no, she did not see him go in the house. She was asked about the damage to her rear taillight, to which she stated, quote, "I don't know how I did it last night," end quote. Once she provided us with the fact that she dropped him off and never saw him go in the house, she was asked to provide details about her leaving. She stated that she made a 3-point turn and left. She was asked to provide some explanation of how Mr. O'Keefe sustained those injuries that he had. She did not.
Let me stop you there. Did you get an answer to your question about how he sustained the injuries or the details about the 3-point turn?
No, I did not.
You mentioned that when you were at Good Samaritan Hospital, you saw blood on the back of Mr. O'Keefe's head.
Yes.
Did you ask the defendant anything about that injury?
Yes, we asked about the injuries that Mr. O'Keefe had, that he had been displaying, and whether or not he had those injuries the night prior at either McCarthy's or Waterfall, to which the defendant stated she didn't see any injuries on him. But then she provided a statement saying that Mr. O'Keefe bumped his head 2 nights prior and asked her about it, which to me it seemed kind of strange. But
without the commentary.
Mm-hmm.
After she told you that Mr. O'Keefe had bumped his head 2 nights prior, and that he had asked about it or she had asked about it?
She stated that he had bumped his head 2 nights prior, and Mr. O'Keefe asked her about it.
Did she say when Mr. O'Keefe asked her about the bump on his head from the few nights before?
No, she did not.
Did the conversation conclude?
Yes, it did.
After the conversation concluded, what was your next step?
Once the conversation concluded, the defendant was advised that her vehicle is being seized, and her cell phone was also seized.
Were there any other items at that point that you were seizing, other than the cell phone and the vehicle?
Not from their location, no.
Did you have a warrant at that point?
We did not, no.
Did you have authority to seize items prior to having a warrant?
I'll allow that.
Well, what is the process when you want to obtain items but you don't have a warrant? What process did you go through?
We seized them to prevent any alteration, destruction of the evidence that could be contained on those items pending a warrant. They are secured. They're not touched or processed by us. The process of obtaining a warrant includes writing an affidavit justifying.
Yeah, we don't need to hear any of this part.
Understood. Understood. Did you ultimately obtain both the phone and the vehicle?
Yes, we did.
Describe how the vehicle was seized. What happened?
The defendant provided her key card. It's like a credit card size key fob for the vehicle to allow the ignition to start. It was driven onto a flatbed tow truck, secured, and then we followed it from Dighton to the Canton Police Department.
Was video ever provided that showed part of that vehicle being loaded onto the tow truck?
Yes, it was.
Have you ever reviewed that video?
Yes, I did.
When you were at Dighton and the defendant's Lexus was being put on the tow truck, about what time was that?
It was approximately 4:15 in the afternoon on the 29th of January, 2022.
Now, you mentioned that you took a cell phone. Are there parts or participants on the team that handle that specific type of evidence?
Yes, we have troopers that are specialized, trained, and have expertise in digital forensic analysis, extraction, and processing of digital devices.
Is that something you do?
I am trained in certain portions of it, but I am not an expert like them.
Did you manipulate the phone in any way?
No,
Did you see Mr. Proctor manipulate the phone in any way?
I don't recall seeing them, no.
Before the vehicle was moved or during the loading of the tow, did either you or Mr. Proctor go back anywhere near that vehicle?
We were near the vehicle once it was unloaded, but we never touched it.
Jurors, I'm going to strike the last portion of that testimony.
From the point you went in and spoke to the defendant until the vehicle was placed in the back of the flatbed, did you ever go back near the vehicle and touch it in any way?
No,
Did you ever see Mr. Proctor go back near that vehicle and touch it in any way?
no.
You mentioned that the tow was loading the vehicle, the defendant's Lexus, around 4:15.
I believe so, yes.
Did you join the tow truck driver, or did you keep your separate vehicle at that point?
We traveled in my... I drove my vehicle and followed the tow truck back to the Canton Police Department.
Where was Mr. Proctor?
In my front passenger seat.
During that time, had you made arrangements or did you receive any information about other members of the team engaging in any searches relative to this case?
Yes, I have.
And what did you learn?
I learned that Detective Lieutenant Tully had dispatched other members of our unit to 34 Fairview and other resources from the Massachusetts State Police to assist him in a search for the missing shoe.
Do you know what time those other members arrived or began to arrive at 34 Fairview? You begin your travels at 4:15 p.m. back to the Canton Police Department. Why did you choose to bring the vehicle to the Canton Police Department if the Canton police detectives were not working on this case anymore?
They had a heated storage facility, being the Sally Port. We needed to preserve the vehicle as best we could away from the elements. And it was also in close proximity to our office, also to process the vehicle and get the search warrant from the local courthouse would have been more convenient for us.
Why was a heated Sally Port or a heated garage important to you?
The vehicle was impacted with snow that accumulated, and also from traveling on the highways, it was packed with a shell of snow covering the exterior of it. So it would melt away in the heated Sally Port.
Were you intending on having other resources or other team members or other units available to look at the vehicle at some point?
Yes, we were.
Who were you intending? Who did you expect would have to look at the vehicle in the future?
For one, we'd have to document the exterior of it with photographs. That would be Crime Scene Services section. We would process it for fingerprints, which would be also serve as the Crime Scene Services section provides. We would, if needed, take swabs for DNA or other latent evidence. So that would be the chemist, as well as if the authority was there to process the internal workings, the computer chips, and the infotainment system of the vehicle. And that would be a digital forensics expert that's trained in that field.
Would an unheated garage or Sally Port impede that?
Yes.
Given that Canton Police Department was not now part of the active investigation, did you have any concerns bringing it to the Canton Police Department?
No.
You said you left Dighton at 4:15. What time approximately did you and Mr. Proctor and that Lexus arrive at the Canton heated Sally Port garage area?
We arrived at the Canton Police Department at 5:30, and the vehicle was unloaded and placed into the garage at 5:35 p.m.
Did you and Mr. Proctor go into the garage?
Yes, we did.
And in the garage, what were you doing?
We helped facilitate putting
I'm going to ask you what you were doing and then what you saw Mr. Proctor doing, rather than use we. I want to be very specific about what you did and saw. What were you doing?
I helped put up yellow caution tape around the vehicle to prevent anyone from coming near it and touching it.
Were there any other persons in that area other than you and Mr. Proctor?
There were members of the Canton Police Department.
Did you make observations of the vehicle once you had it in that Sally Port area?
Yes, I did.
You mentioned that it was packed with snow. Was the snow still on it when you brought it into the Sally Port?
Yes, there was.
Did you wipe the car down or clear the car of the snow?
No.
Did you touch the vehicle in any way with your hands?
No.
Did you ever see Mr. Proctor touch that vehicle?
No, he did not.
I'll sustain it. I'll strike that as here.
Did you ever see Michael Proctor touch that vehicle while you were in the Sally Port area?
I did not.
How long did you remain in the Sally Port area for, do you know?
We remained in the Sally Port area approximately till 5:51 and change, based on
Good,
the
that's
best of
enough.
my memory.
After you left the Sallyport area, where did you go?
We left the Sally. I apologize.
Go ahead, if you can say first what you did and then wait for the next question, please.
I left the Sallyport area and proceeded inside the Canton Police Department.
Where was Mr. Proctor?
He was with me.
By your side?
Yes.
Did he ever leave your sight?
I'm sure at some point he walked away from me, but I can't. We were traveling together all day.
You went into a different part of the Canton Police Department?
Yes.
Where did you go?
Into the dispatch area, and then the conference room upstairs later on.
Why did you go up to the conference room?
The conference room was provided for us to use as a meeting location. The members of our unit that had assisted at the 34 Fairview Road scene had traveled back to Canton Police, and we were meeting there to exchange information based on what we had learned with our portions of the investigation. That way everyone's on the same page at that point.
Did you meet, is this team, is it called a SERT Team?
There is a SERT team.
Do you know if the SERT Team was the team that went to 34 Fairview?
Yes, I do.
Did you meet with the entire SERT Team that night at the Canton Police Department, or some members?
Not the entire team, no.
When you had the meeting in that room, who did you meet with?
In that room, I specifically remember being Detective Lieutenant Tully, myself, Michael Proctor, and other members of our homicide and narcotics section assigned to the Norfolk District Attorney's Office.
Did you discuss the evidence you had to that point?
Yes.
Regarding 34 Fairview Road, did you develop or decide any plans to physically go back to that area?
Yes, I did.
And what was the plan?
The plan was to take shovels and rakes and other gardening equipment and go back to that location to excavate for additional evidence.
When did you make the decision that you were going to go back to 34 Fairview?
It was that evening.
Why did you decide you were going to go back at some point?
During the recall of all the information learned and sharing of that information with other members of our investigative team, it was realized that Mr. O'Keefe was wearing a black baseball hat, and at this point in time, that article of clothing was still missing.
Was there something impeding a full and complete investigation of the scene?
At 34 Fairview?
Yes.
Yes, the heavy, large amount of snow that had accumulated over the last 12 hours or so heavily hindered our investigation of that immediate scene.
When you were debriefed, did you learn the area where the SERT team had spent most of their time searching?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that, sir?
When you were debriefed, were you informed the area that the SERT team spent most of their time searching?
I don't recall on the specifics of it, no.
Now, at some point, did you obtain a registry of motor vehicle record and certificate for the Lexus that you had towed?
Yes, we did.
May I approach?
Yes.
So do you recognize this?
Yes, I do.
And if you can take a look at the following pages. And what is that, sir?
It is the Massachusetts Registry of Motor Vehicle title, history, and registration inquiry for a black and color Lexus LX year model 2022, bearing Massachusetts registration 3GC684, registered to Karen Reed.
Do I move this document to evidence?
No objection, Your Honor.
As part of your continued investigation, did you have an opportunity to obtain documents and items?
Yes.
Did you listen to audio recordings that were included statements of the defendant?
Yes, I did.
Did you listen to audio recordings from different sources?
Yes, I did.
What do some of those sources include?
Dateline 2020, Gretchen Voss, Fox 25, various media platforms.
I want to walk through some of the evidence in chronological order of date. So going back to January 29th, 2022, at the hospital you obtained some items.
Yes, sir.
Did you bring those items with you today?
Yes, I did.
I want to talk about the progress of those items from when you first obtained them until today. You mentioned that there were clothes that you obtained at the hospital of Mr. O'Keefe.
Yes, sir.
And you shared with us that they were wet. You put them in bags.
Yes, sir.
That night, where did those clothes go when you left the hospital?
Those clothes, while bagged up, they remained in the back cab portion behind my driver's seat of my pickup truck on the floorboard.
Where did you bring them that night?
That bag containing all those clothing traveled with me around the area as we investigated, and then after the debrief at Canton PD, we brought them directly here to the Canton office of the district attorney.
Did you have those items with you at the Canton Police Department?
They were in my truck. I didn't bring them into the.
I see. Did they remain in your truck while you were in the Canton Police Department?
Once I placed that bag in the back of my truck, I did not touch until I removed it from the truck at the Canton District Attorney's office to bring it in.
When did you remove it from your truck and bring it into the District Attorney's office?
Probably around 8 p.m. on the 29th of January 2022.
When you brought the clothes inside, where did you bring them?
We brought them to the temporary evidence processing area within the District Attorney's office in the State Police section of the office where we have our desks and workspaces. There's a designated area at the time for evidence processing.
What did you do with the clothes once you got them into the secure area in the District Attorney's office?
Once the clothing was in that secure area, we had to lay them out to dry.
What you did.
I had to lay them out to dry them. So I took a butcher paper, laid it out on the floor, and each item I removed and laid out onto that butcher paper to dry.
Was anybody with you helping you?
Yes.
And who's that?
Michael Proctor.
Why did you lay out the clothing items one by one separately?
Each clothing item needs to dry naturally and prevent moisture from being trapped. That moisture, if trapped, could develop mold and damage any DNA evidence that we could retrieve. Scientists could retrieve from the item. To prevent that, we dried each item individually, separating each item for better airflow.
How long did it take for those items to dry?
Several days.
And were they in that secure area on the butcher paper for several days?
Yes, sir.
Are there times when that separate area was left alone, nobody watching?
Yes, sir.
Were those clothes ultimately moved from that area?
Ultimately, they were moved, yes.
Did you personally remove them from that area?
No, I did not.
Did you know if they were bagged and put into evidence?
I do know they were bagged and put into evidence.
Is there an evidence locker at that office?
Yes, there is.
Is it a secure area?
Yes, it is.
Does every officer or trooper have access to that evidence room?
No, they do not.
Did you again see those items at a later date?
Yes, I did.
And have you seen those items since?
Yes, I have.
The items, the clothing items you took from the hospital, do you remember what items they were?
Yes, I do.
Can you share with us your memory of what items they are?
It was a two-tone gray sweatshirt, light material sweatshirt. It was an orange t-shirt. It was a pair of blue jeans, a belt, and a pair of underwear boxers.
And did you bring those clothing items with you today?
Yes, I did.
Beginning with the pants, do you have them with you up at the stand, Mr. O'Keefe's pants?
Yes.
Could you produce it, please?
Yes, sir.
Do you have gloves, Trooper Bukhenik?
Yes, I do.
I'd move this item into evidence. With the court's permission, I'd ask the trooper to show the item to the jury.
Yes.
Thank you. May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Did you learn during your conversations with the SERT team and other members of the team that a sneaker was found at 34 Fairview?
Yes, I did.
Have you seen the photographs relative to that sneaker?
Yes, I have.
And you mentioned when you were at the hospital there was a sneaker? One?
Yes,
Do you have that sneaker with you?
I do.
Could you produce it, please?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, I'd move this item into evidence.
No objection.
Could I have the court's permission for the trooper to show it to the jury? Trooper, is that the sneaker that was at the hospital when you visited Mr. O'Keefe?
No, so this is the sneaker from 34 Fairview.
Could I have that marked? What, is that a left or a right sneaker, sir?
This is the left sneaker. Excuse me, this is the right sneaker from 34 Fairview Road.
Yes, Your Honor.
Sure. If you could put the speaker back in the bag and let Mr. Brennan bring the bag over, please.
Sir, when we left, we were discussing Mr. O'Keefe's sneaker that you retrieved from the Good Samaritan Hospital.
Yes, sir.
Would that be his right sneaker?
It would be his right sneaker.
Do you have that sneaker with you today?
I do.
And again, could you open that bag and show that right sneaker to the jury?
Yes, sir.
Is that the sneaker you retrieved from the Good Samaritan Hospital?
It is.
I'd move that into evidence, please.
Okay, any objection, Mr. Jackson?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
Trooper Bukhenik, there are two more items. I'm sorry, Your Honor.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. Trooper Bukhenik, there are two more items that you retrieved of John O'Keefe's clothing from the Good Samaritan Hospital. Did you bring those two items with you?
Yes, sir.
Are those two of the items that you laid out on butcher paper to dry?
Yes, they are.
Were they ultimately bagged and put into evidence?
Yes, they were.
And did you bring Mr. O'Keefe's T-shirt?
Yes, I did.
Is it placed in an object so it can be seen?
Yes, it was.
What type of object?
It's a transparent plastic sheet.
I would move the T-shirt into evidence.
No objection.
With the court's permission, could Trooper Bukhenik show it to the jury?
Yes.
Could you show the back as well, Trooper? Thank you.
Mr. Brennan, could you help assist with what we're putting with that, please?
Of course.
Exhibit 87.
Yeah, thank you.
And Trooper Bukhenik, is there a last piece of item of Mr. O'Keefe's that you took from the Good Samaritan Hospital?
Yes, it is.
And what is it?
It's the sweatshirt.
I'd move that into evidence, Your Honor.
No objection.
With the court's permission?
Yes.
Could you show the back side, please? May I approach?
Yes, thank you. Next exhibit, please, Madam Court Reporter.
Exhibit 88.
Thank you.
No, let's do the lady,
I'm sorry?
lady,
Oh, okay. Jurors, every piece of evidence that you're getting is recorded, and we have to keep a very clear record. So sometimes we spend time that may seem like a waste of time to you, but it's very, very important for the case. So we do appreciate your patience. All right, go ahead, Mr. Brennan.
Thank you. Trooper Bukhenik, you shared with us that you met with some of the members of the state police that night and then returned to the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office to put the clothing on butcher paper, you called it. What was your next step in your investigation?
We met and discussed the next steps. My decision was to go back to 34 Fairview and excavate for the missing clothing item, being Mr. O'Keefe's hat. There was also plans to start writing search warrants.
Did the weather get better over the next couple days?
The weather did take a turn for the warmer temperatures, yes.
Did you return to Fairview a few days later on February 3rd?
Yes, I did.
Was that the first time you personally had visited 34 Fairview?
Yes, it was.
When you went to 34 Fairview on February 3rd, 2022, do you remember about what time in the morning you went?
Sometime between 8:30, 9 o'clock, maybe 9:30.
When you went there, did you travel with anybody?
Yes.
Who did you travel with?
It was other members of my unit and a member from crime scene services.
Did you all travel in the same vehicle, or did you meet there?
We all traveled in our own issued cruisers.
Was this a planned search or a planned excavation on February 3rd,
Yes, it was.
2022?
Yes, it was.
Who was there at the scene, 34 Fairview, with you?
It was Trooper DeChico, Mike Proctor, and Trooper Evan Brent.
And Trooper Evan, last name?
Brent.
Brent. Was Trooper Brent the photographer?
Yes.
What type of tools did you bring when you went to 34 Fairview?
We brought snow shovels, garden shovels. I brought a like an E-tool, military-style E-tool.
Was there still some snow on the ground?
There was, yes.
Did you and the members of the group begin to look for any evidence?
Yes, we did.
Were you looking on the street, or did you move to more on the grass?
Objection, Your Honor.
Ask it differently.
What area were you focused on at this point?
We were focused on the lawn portion of the property in the vicinity of the flagpole, the fire hydrant, and along the edge of the asphalt.
Did you see a berm, an asphalt berm separating the concrete street and the yard?
Yes,
Were you looking anywhere near the area of the berm?
we did, yes.
Were you looking anywhere on the street?
The street was plowed, but portions of the street still had remnants of snow, so we did check that area, but it was much easier to identify anything because it was clear of snow.
Where was most of your focus?
On the lawn.
As you worked your way through the lawn, did you or members of your team come across any items that you believe to be evidence?
Yes.
I'm going to ask you to produce some of that evidence to us. Beginning with 535, did you find a number of pieces of plastic?
Yes.
Could you produce 535?
Yes, sir.
Let me just ask you a couple questions before you open that. If somebody identified an object that they believed to be evidence, what was the process for handling it?
On this day, we identified evidence. The process would have been documenting each item that was located with photographs. Then one of the members of the individuals present would bag each item into a paper bag.
When they were bagged, would the person bagging them use any type of protection like you're using?
Absolutely, every time.
After the items are bagged, was the bag sealed?
Eventually it was sealed, yes.
When you say eventually, what does that mean?
Once it was, all the items were inside and it was brought back to the office, it would be sealed, signed, completely filled out with all the pertinent information on the back.
Could you open that bag?
Yes, sir.
Before you take the pieces out, I'm asking you to look in. Do you recognize those pieces?
Yes, I do.
What do you recognize them to be?
I recognize them to be the items that we recovered from the lawn area on the left side of 34 Fairview Road on February 3rd, 2022, during the planned excavation of the property.
And were they photographed before they were put in that bag?
They were.
Your Honor, may I approach before Trooper Bukhenik
Yes.
opens that bag or goes through it? Hand you a series of photographs and ask you to look at them, see if you recognize them.
I do recognize them.
And what is in those photographs?
The photographs depict items collected from the lawn at 34 Fairview on February 3rd, 2022.
Do those particular photographs correspond with the pieces of items that are in that bag?
They do.
I moved this series of photographs in evidence.
No objection. Will not come separately, please.
Those items, were they eventually sent for analysis to a Massachusetts State Police lab?
Yes, they were.
When the laboratory receives those items, are you familiar whether they mark them with a label or a number for identification?
Objection, Your Honor.
I went along with that.
Yes, they mark each item individually.
Do those items have markings on them reflected by an item number?
Yes, they are.
When you refer to a piece, will you refer to that item number that is on any individual piece?
Once it's labeled, it is identified by that individual piece, by that designated label.
So if there's any numbers written on any of those pieces, was that written by you?
No.
Would that have been written by somebody else after it was sent?
Yes, at the lab.
Okay. If we can begin, if you can begin to take the pieces out so we can show them to the jury? And does that have a number on it or a tag?
Yes, it does. This is item 22-02-184-7-8, also alphanumeric A.
And Aperture on it?
Yes.
Thank you.
These two are taped together.
When you found them, were they taped together?
No. They're taped together by the lab. There's also a canister labeled debris collection. That number is 22-02-184-7-8.1. This is 7-8G. This is 7-8N, as in November. There are also items too small to label with a letter and number. Those were put into a bag like this. Almost looks like a stamp bag, wax stamp bag.
Are those all the items in that bag?
Altogether, there are, it does look like those are all the items. Some of them are inside the canister that I pulled up.
Understood. You know how to move those items into evidence, please? Sir, you mentioned that there was a trooper there photographing the evidence.
Yes, sir.
Did the photographer take a photograph of the items in place when they were found, or were the items moved to a different location before they were photographed?
That day, every item was photographed where it was found.
With the court's permission, I'd like to show a number of exhibits to the jury. Okay. Starting with Exhibit 89, which is P490-7690. Trooper, is that one of the items you found that morning?
Yes, it is.
Do you know where, in relation to the fire hydrant or the flagpole, this item was recovered?
It was in the general vicinity between the flagpole and the fire hydrant. The area we were excavating was approximately 40 to 50 square feet in area.
Mr. Brennan, can that be expanded, please, so that the jurors can see what we're looking at?
Thank you, Your Honor. Is the item that you recovered on top of that leaf?
Yes, it is.
Okay. I can next show Exhibit 90, which is P492-7692. Before we close up, sir, is that the fire hydrant that is at the corner of 34 Fairview Road?
Yes, it is.
Could we close up, please, on that? Why is there a ruler on the ground?
The ruler is utilized to help put the item to scale by the photographer from Crime Scene Services. They utilize these measuring rulers for scale of the item that you're looking at. Sometimes it's hard to depict how large an item is if there's no reference point.
Could we do a little bit further view to show the fire hydrant? Thank you. Is that where this piece of evidence was found, in that exact location?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I'd like next to show to the jury Exhibit 91, which is P5157721. Do you recognize that piece of evidence?
Yes, sir.
Could we zoom in, please? Is that the same piece of evidence that is depicted in Exhibit 89, P4907690, a different angle with the ruler?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. If we could have Exhibit 92, please, which is P4937694. Could you zoom in, please? Is that piece of evidence in the bag that you've provided as evidence, physical evidence?
Yes, sir.
Was this found near the area of the other pieces?
Yes, it was.
If we could show Exhibit 93, P5077711, please. Could you zoom in, please? How long did you spend that day looking, you and the team, for pieces of evidence?
I was probably 45 to an hour.
And finally, if I could show Exhibit 94, P5037707. And could you zoom in, please? And this piece of evidence, where in relation to the other pieces was this found?
In the same vicinity.
Thank you. If you could take that down, please. When you were searching, did you find any item near the street area?
Yes, we did.
What did you find?
A black plastic drinking straw.
Could you retrieve 536 for us, please? I'd move this piece of evidence into evidence.
No objection.
All right.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes, let's get it passed.
I'm sorry, Your Honor?
Let's wait till tomorrow.
From the photograph, do you recognize that, sir?
Yes, I did.
What's in the photograph of?
It's a photograph of the black drinking straw that we found at 34 Fairview on February 3rd, 2022.
What location did you find it in?
It was close to the paved berm on the street.
This was after the street was plowed?
Yes, it was.
I'd move this into evidence as an exhibit, please.
Okay.
No objection, Your Honor. I'd ask you to open this and show it to the jury.
Yes, sir.
With the court's permission, I'd like to show Exhibit 98 to the jury,
Okay.
and that is P4887688. So could you look at that photograph? And Ms. Gilman, could you close? Do you recognize what's in that photograph?
I do.
And what is that?
That is the photograph of the straw we picked up from the street in front of 34 Fairview Road.
Could we zoom out a little bit, please, Ms. Gilman? Is that the area where you or your team recovered that straw?
That is exactly where it was found and recovered from.
That photograph doesn't show much of the grassy area. How far is that area from the fire hydrant?
It's probably, with my estimate, 15 feet, maybe 20 from the fire hydrant. It's probably 15 to 20 feet if I had to estimate.
Thank you. You mentioned that one of the items that you went back to Fairview to try to find was a hat. Why were you specifically looking for a hat?
I had learned that Mr. O'Keefe was wearing a black baseball hat the night prior to the incident. So with us recovering the clothing from the hospital and the hat was not part of that pile of clothing, we needed to see where the hat was. That could have been a lead. That could be a clue of where Mr. O'Keefe was last prior to being discovered.
Did you or the team ultimately find a hat that morning?
Yes.
Did I have you produce 537?
Yes, sir.
Do I move that item into evidence?
So this is going to be 96.
Thank you. With the court's permission, Bukhenik, could you open that and show it to the jury? Was that item photographed?
Yes, it was.
And when that was taken from the scene, was the same method used of using gloves and putting it in a bag?
Yes, it was.
When the item was photographed, was it photographed in the place that it was found?
Yes, it was.
May I approach your honor?
Yes.
So I'm showing you a series of photographs. If you take a look at it, the first one, do you recognize that photograph?
I do.
What is it?
It's the accumulated snow that was being excavated at the scene where we located Mr. O'Keefe's hat.
And the second photo?
The second photo is a close-up of Mr. O'Keefe's hat, flattened and frozen to the ground with portions of it exposed from underneath the piled up snow.
Third photo?
Third photo is also of the hat once it's been removed, and you can see the thin blue line, American flag, on the front of the hat and the Nike swoosh on the brim.
And the fourth photo, please.
And the fourth photograph is also a close-up of the top of the hat with a scale ruler next to it with grass showing it from underneath the hat.
I'm going to put these back in the order you identified them. Where I move these four photographs into evidence.
Okay. Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor. With the court's permission, I'd like to show these photographs to the jury.
Yes.
Beginning with 99A, P526, 7733, please. Could you close up just a little bit, please? Sir, can you describe what you see here?
Yes, that's the excavation track by one of the members at the scene. You could see the hat frozen flat to the bottom, or on the bottom of the snow, right on top of the grass. It was under approximately 1.5 feet of snow that had accumulated in the area.
We could next show 99B, P527, 7735.
This is again the close-up of the frozen flat hat to the grass at 34 Fairview Road.
Next is 99C, P5297739, please.
Once pulled out and flipped over, again, this is the same hat belonging to Mr. O'Keefe that was discovered frozen flat to the grass at the scene.
Thank you. You can take that down, please. Did you search the entire front lawn at that time?
No, we did not.
And we can see from those photographs, is there still snow in that yard?
Yes.
As you continued your investigation, did you continue to go back to Fairview over time?
Yes, based on the amount of snow still present and the fact that we were finding pieces of broken taillight and glass at the scene, and items that we did not expect to find, like a cocktail glass straw. I directed my members to go by the scene every day as the temperatures rose. Snow would expose more evidence on the lawn, and with the hopes of finding each and every item that was present.
On February 4th, the next day, 2022, did you receive a call?
Yes, I did.
Not what was said, but who was that call from?
I believe it was,
I don't want you to guess if you don't know. Was the person a member of any group?
yes,
From what group?
it was Canton Police.
As a result of receiving a call from the Canton Police, or someone from the Canton Police on February 4th, 2022, did you go anywhere?
I was already en route to 34 Fairview to conduct a directed check of the area.
When you say directed check, you drive by every day on your way to work?
I told my members on every day to work and home to make sure someone's checking the lawn to make sure that any evidence that exposes itself through the melting snow would be identified and collected.
As you were on your way there, you received a call from someone from the Canton Police.
Yes,
Did you arrive at 34 Fairview on February 4th, 2022?
I did.
When you got there, did you see any more items?
Yes, I did.
How many?
One item, a larger in size red taillight piece had revealed itself, and it was collected.
Could you produce 710, please?
Yes, sir.
Is that 710, sir?
7-10, yes, sir.
I'd move that item into evidence, please.
No objection.
With the court's permission, could Trooper Bukhenik open the item and show it to the jury?
Yes.
Thank you. Did anybody photograph that item where it was found?
Yes, there was a photograph taken.
Did you take the photograph?
No, I did not.
How did you receive the photograph?
It was attached to the Canton Police reports that were provided. Canton Police documented that item in place.
May I approach?
Yes.
Showing you two photographs. The first page, you recognize that item?
Yes, I do.
What do you recognize that to be?
That was the item I collected on February 4th at 34 Fairview Road, which I was just showing to the jury.
And the second photograph?
The second photograph is a zoomed out general vicinity photograph of the same item from 34 Fairview Road, the lawn area, approximately 7 feet from the roadway.
I'd like to move the evidence. A and B. Court permission.
Any objection, Mr. Jackson?
No objection, Your Honor.
With the court's permission, I'd like to show those photographs to the jury.
Yes.
P46, please. Is that a photograph of the item you just showed the jury, sir?
Yes, it is.
And where was it in relation to the other pieces that you had found on February 3rd?
It was further to the right. If you're looking at the property, if you have the fire hydrant on your left, it was further to the right, on the right bank of the snow that was melting on the lawn.
Is that on the lawn or on the pavement?
That's on the lawn.
And could we show the close-up, please, P47? When you recovered those items, did you go through the same protocol of gloves and bags?
Absolutely.
Did you return to 34 Fairview on February 10th?
Yes, I did.
Was the snow in a different state than when you last left it on February 3rd?
Yes, it had receded significantly.
When you went back on February 10th, were you with anybody?
I believe I was with another trooper.
Do you know who that was?
I don't remember. I'd have to refresh my memory.
Was it Michael Proctor?
It might have been, yes.
Could you produce 7-11, please?
Yes, sir.
Does that bag contain some of the items you found on February 10th at Fairview Road?
Yes, it does.
I'd move that into evidence, please.
No objection, Your Honor.
Okay. Exhibit 102.
Can you describe generally the size of the items in that bag?
Can I open it?
Please.
Generally speaking, there's 6 plastic pieces of clear and red and black items. They're in size approximately to like $50.
Without going through every one of them, can you just pull out one red and one clear to show the jury a representative sample of what's in the bag? In total, there's 6 items in that bag.
In total, there are 6 items in the bag.
When you retrieve those items, did you use the same protocol of gloves in a bag?
Yes.
Did you photograph these items when you took them?
Not on this day, no.
Why not?
We had been to the scene so many times. It was the same general vicinity, and we just made a decision not to have crime scene come out to photograph these six pieces.
Were they in any remarkably different position than the other pieces? Anything that stood out, or were they in the? Let me rephrase that. Where were they generally in relation to the other pieces that you had found?
They were all in the general area where the other pieces had been located. It was on the left side of the lawn, but near the flagpole, between the road and the home.
Was there another group of items that you found that day that you put in a separate bag?
Yes.
Could you provide us? May I approach? I'm not sure if I've marked this one for evidence.
Yes.
Or not. Could you produce 7-12, please?
Yes, sir.
I'd move this into evidence, please.
No objection, Your Honor.
Exhibit 103.
With the court's permission, could Trooper Bukhenik open the bag?
Yes.
In that bag, are there different types of items? The items you showed us before were appear to be plastic.
Yes, these items are packaged in wax paper. There's 14 pieces in total, and these items contain glass and plastic fragments, some of which are also within like a cylindrical tin container that you saw earlier.
Could you show us some of the glass pieces, please?
Yes, sir. I'm gonna have to open the wax bag.
Please. Could you stand so the people in the back can see? Thank you. Were there a number of different items inside that are inside that bag that you found that way?
Yes, there are a number of glass pieces taped and labeled for identification at the lab and mechanically pieced together to form this one piece in my right hand, and this is one solid, thick piece of curved glass in my left hand.
And again, is this February 10, 2022?
Yes, it is.
The last evidence bag, you said that you did not photograph where they were found. Did you photograph where these pieces were found?
No, I did not. No.
Any different reason than the last bag?
No.
Do you have a memory of where these items were found in relation to the items in the last bag?
Yes, they were all in the general vicinity where all the other taillight pieces were located, as well as the baseball hat.
How much snow was on the ground at this point?
Most of the snow had melted. There might have been some areas that was still present because of the excavation that took place. So very little to no snow was present at this point in time.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Is that all the pieces that you have that you were part of finding or retrieving from 34 Fairview Road related to plastic or glass discovery?
Yes, sir.
Did you continue to work on this case?
Yes, I did.
At some point, did you receive video from a number of different locations?
Yes.
Where were you part of retrieving or receiving video from?
I was part of retrieving and receiving video from CF McCarthy's, the Waterfall. There was also video that was collected from other agencies and entities.
Did you seek a search warrant or video evidence from a company called Ring?
Yes.
For what location?
For the Meadows Ave location, Mr. John O'Keefe's residence.
Did you receive video from Ring, directly from Ring?
Ring sent over files with Ring video.
Was that by link, by a computer?
I'm not sure how it came in. It was via the internet.
Did you view all of the files that were produced by Ring?
At some point, I reviewed all the files, yes.
Was that pursuant to a subpoena?
I'm sorry?
Were the Ring videos produced pursuant to a subpoena?
Through the search warrant, yes. We requested it through the search warrant. That's the way that these providers, service providers, respond to court legal service.
Were you aware that some cruisers or the cruisers at the Canton Police Department had dash cam video?
Yes, I am aware of it.
Did you obtain and review video?
Yes, I did.
Have you seen other video from the Canton Police Department?
Yes, I did.
At some point, were you asked if you would consent to provide your DNA?
Yes, I was, yes.
Is that uncommon in investigations?
It's not common, but situations do arise where you're asked to do that. So it's not the first time that's happened, but it has happened before where a law enforcement individual officer has to provide DNA, and they consent.
Did you?
Yes, I did.
Did you review any other materials in this case? Did you review any reports?
I did review reports, yes.
Did you write reports in this case?
Yes, I did.
Now, I want to ask you about Michael Proctor. You had told us that you were working on this investigation with him.
Yes, I was.
Are you still working on this investigation with him?
No, I'm not.
You were Michael Proctor's supervisor?
Yes, I was.
When you work for the state police, do you have a personal phone and a phone that is provided to you by the state police?
Yes.
The state police phone, is that a work phone?
Yes, it is.
What type of information do you receive on that phone?
You can receive communications via email, text message, cell phone, tower, voice communications.
Okay. And do officers communicate with each other at times on those work phones?
Yes, they do.
And during that time, did you have a work phone that you were using for communications?
Yes, I did.
At some point, did you receive or were you placed on an email chain that included Michael Proctor and others?
I believe it was a text chain.
I'm sorry, a text chain.
Yes.
Were you included on a text chain involving Michael Proctor and others?
Yes, I was.
Did you receive a text or a text chain from Michael Proctor and other people?
Yes, I did.
And when you received a text, do you remember where you were when you received the text chain?
The specific one you're referring to, I was at the Logan Airport working a traffic detail.
When you received that text or text chain, did you respond?
I acknowledged the text. I did not respond with verbiage.
And then during that text chain, did you look at the entire text chain?
No, the text message came through on my Apple Watch as I was controlling traffic. I glanced at it, took part of the information that came through, and acknowledged it with a thumbs up emoji, indicating that I read it.
At some point, did you learn everything that was on that text chain?
Yes.
And as a result of that text chain, was there an investigation?
There was.
And during that investigation, you were Michael Proctor's supervisor?
I was.
After the investigation was done, did the state police make any finding against you for that text chain?
Yes. There were 2 sustained findings as a result of that investigation.
Did you initiate that text chain?
No, I don't believe so.
You did react with a thumbs up?
I acknowledged the text message that he sent, or portion of the information that came through on my watch.
And the 2 sustained findings against you, were one of them for failure to adequately supervise?
Yes.
And the other, was it regarding a routine or regular review that it didn't consider that text chain? I'll rephrase.
Okay.
That second sustained finding, was it regarding a review of the performance level of Mr. Proctor?
That's correct.
Sustained is to fill.
Was there a second sustained finding?
Yes, there was.
Did it relate to the review process of a subordinate?
Sustained is to fill.
What was that second sustained finding about?
The accuracy of the review of the quarterly performance evaluation.
You said quarterly. How often would you write reviews for subordinates?
Every 90 days.
Was there any other sustained finding against you?
No.
Was there punishment in light of those 2 sustained findings against you?
There was.
And what was that punishment?
I lost 5 vacation days.
Do you presently work in the Homicide Division of the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office?
I do.
Are you currently a sergeant?
I am.
Have you ever reviewed that entire chain that was at issue?
Only through the documents provided for me during the internal investigation.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
So I'm going to ask you to take a look at that document, and if you turn the page, does it begin to, one more page, please. Does it begin to reflect the email chain?
Yes, it does.
Do you remember this email chain?
I remember seeing it when I reviewed it. I don't remember the intricate details of these messages.
Do you remember that photograph?
I don't.
Okay, could you turn the page? Is there text?
Yes, there is.
Without citing the phone numbers, I'd like you to cite the author of the text, and I'd like you to read the text to the jury.
Do you want me to date it in time? I know.
Sure.
August 17th, 2022, 9:44 p.m., 25 seconds. Funny, I am going through his retarded client's phone.
I'd like you to read all of them, please.
Next one, no nudes so far. I hate that man. I truly hate him.
Hey, can you give the author for each comment? And can you start again, because I want us to understand.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
The author, whoever makes the comment, I'd like to have the name of the author.
I'm sorry, this document does not identify who the author is, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
It identifies this as your phone,
That is, yes.
but each comment doesn't identify who sent it.
No, it does not. I assume it's an extraction from one device, but
I see. If you made any of the comments yourself, would you tell us?
if I made those comments?
No, if you make any of them in here as you read them, will you point out if you...
Absolutely, absolutely, yes.
Okay. And if you don't know who made the comment, can you just identify that for us as you read it so we know?
Okay, do you want me to continue to the next page?
Why don't we start over, because I should have been more clear in my direction. Could you begin again?
So in the beginning, it says, funny, I am going through his retarded client's phone.
Is that your comment?
No, it is not.
Okay, next.
It appears to be the same person because of the way that the extraction happens, and it says no nudes so far. Again, this, I believe it's the same person because all of these are identified as sent. It says, I hate that man. I truly hate him.
Do you have any belief that's Michael Proctor who is writing these?
Yes, I believe that is.
Next, please.
There's a blank page, and that's the end. Yes, sir.
Did you say you were suspended 5 days or lost 5 days vacation?
Lost 5 days of vacation.
Okay. And have you continued on your cases?
Yes, I have.
I want to go back to the evidence that you reviewed in this case.
Okay.
Did you get to look at the ring video for John O'Keefe's home at Meadows?
Yes, I did.
Did you review the video over a period of time of January 28th and January 29th?
I did.
What were you looking for?
We were looking for activity to get a timeline. During investigations, different sources provide you information that can develop into leads. It also helps verify witness statements. It helps verify information's coming in. We always trust, but we always verify the information that we take in from individuals we do not know. So although it could be a cooperating witness, we still have to verify that their information is accurate. Not that they might be intentionally misleading you, but 3 people can watch the same event and observe it differently. So it's good to talk to individuals and pick up on different facts that they remember, giving you a whole picture of what took place.
Did you review ring video for January 28, 2022 and January 29, 2022?
I did.
With the court's permission, I'd like to show a number of segments of the video from January 28, 2022.
Okay, the one that's already in evidence?
It is, it's Exhibit 6.
Okay.
When you reviewed the video from the ring that Ring provided for Mr. O'Keefe's home on Meadows for January 28, 2022, did you review it from the morning time at about 7:18:55 throughout the evening?
On the 28th?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. If I could have video 119. Thank you. After that video, did you have an opportunity to look at video at about 5:05 p.m.?
I'm sorry, there was a noise coming from a bag over here. I apologize.
Not a problem.
Can you repeat that question?
Sure. On January 28, 2022, did you have a chance to look at video from the ring at about 5:05 p.m.?
Yes.
Could I have video 145, please? Thank you, Ms. Gilman. Did you have a chance to look at video from a little later that evening, 7:36 p.m.?
Yes, I did.
Could we have video 149, please? Thank you. In your investigation, did you learn that the defendant's phone connected to Mr. O'Keefe's Wi-Fi at his house on January 29, 2022 at 12:36:39?
Yes.
Did you look for any ring video for that time, 12:36:39?
Yes.
Was there any ring video on the production that was sent to you by Ring for the time period of around 12:36:39 on the evening of January 29, 2022?
There was no ring video for that time frame.
Did you look for ring video around 5:07:58 that morning on January 29, 2022?
Yes, I did.
Could we see video 153, please? Thank you. Did you review that video from 5:07:58?
Yes.
Did you later review video of 5:46:29?
Yes.
Could we play number 154, please? Could you stop that, please? Do you recognize what's in that video?
Yes, I do.
What is that?
That is, top left corner is Mr. John O'Keefe's vehicle. Middle left side of the screen is a black Lexus SUV registered to Karen Reed with the license plate based on that registration. And then on the right side, I believe that's Miss Carrie Roberts' vehicle.
Did you see the people enter the house?
Yes.
Did you look for further video after the people arrived at 5:46:29?
Yes.
Was there any video of those three people leaving?
No, there was not.
Was there later video at 7:05:16 a.m.?
There was, yes.
Ms. Gilman, can we see video 155, please? Thank you. Did you later see video at 8:23 a.m.?
Yes.
We have exhibit or video 159, please. Thank you. Did you later see video at 10:36:28?
Yes, I did.
Could we have video 161, please? Could you stop that, please? Do you know who's in that video?
I believe it's Mr. Paul O'Keefe and Mrs. O'Keefe.
Could you please play? Okay, thank you. Did you later look at video of 12:04?
Yes.
And could we please play the 1-minute segment of video 165? Could you stop that video? Do you know who that is?
I believe that's the defendant.
Continue, please. Could you stop that? Do you know who exited the car?
I believe that's Mr. Reed.
Okay. Continue, please. Thank you. Did you continue to watch the video from the driveway
Yes.
during that time period?
Yes.
Did you see anybody else get out of that car that was in the back?
Yes.
And who did you believe you saw getting out of that car?
I believe it was the defendant's brother and possibly his companion. I don't know who that is.
Did you have a chance to watch the video?
Yes, I did.
At 12:35 p.m., could you play video 174, please? Thank you. Did you look at video from 12:40?
Yes, I did.
Could we have video 171? And 175. Thank you. Did you look for further video to see if there's any video for the time around when the Lexus was taken from Meadows that morning?
Yes.
Was there any video that was produced that shows the time around before and the time that Lexus was removed from that driveway that morning?
There was no video. No.
When you were at the Sallyport, did you get an opportunity to look at the Lexus's rear taillight area?
Yes, I did.
Did you get to make observations about the damage that you viewed that morning?
Yes, I was.
Did you later have a chance to see, after the snow melted, what that damage looked like?
Yes, I did.
Could I have Exhibit 54, please? Do you recognize what's in that photo?
Yes, I do.
And what do you recognize it to be?
That is the defendant's Lexus SUV that was seized and later processed. It's currently in the Canton Sallyport, I believe.
Could we close up on the right rear taillight, please? Do you notice anything about that right rear taillight?
Yes.
What do you notice?
It's missing a large red portion of the lens.
Is that consistent or inconsistent with the damage that you saw when you first saw that car?
That is 100% consistent.
Did you get an opportunity to see any video or photographs of that right rear taillight before the car was placed in the Sally Port video?
Yes.
Did you view the ring video from Mr. O'Keefe's Meadows Ave address?
Yes.
If we could go back to video 153 from Exhibit 6. If you could play this, please. Did you have a chance to review this video?
Yes.
Is this at 5:07:58 a.m. on January 29, 2000?
Yes, it is.
Could you stop, please? Do you notice anything about the right rear taillight in that video?
Yes.
What do you notice?
It's showing white and is missing the red taillight cover lens.
Could you zoom back out for a second, please? Could you continue? And I'm going to ask you to stop in a second. Stop, please. And do you notice anything about that still of that video?
Yes, it's consistent with its appearance of missing that red taillight lens.
If you could play the vehicle leaving the driveway, please. Thank you. May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Hand you a document, sir? Do you recognize what's in that?
Yes, I do.
What is it?
It's a still frame from the ring footage taken of the video we just watched of the Lexus SUV leaving, and the large red portion of the rear taillight is missing.
Would you like to move this into evidence?
Okay. Any objections to Jackson?
At some point later that afternoon, you shared, or mid-afternoon, you went to Dighton, but before that, did you review any other evidence of the damage to that taillight before you and Mr. Proctor even got to the Dighton address?
Yes.
Could I have Exhibit 10, please? Did you have a chance to view still photos from the wellness check that was conducted by the Canton Police Department and videos on the dash cam?
Yes, I did.
Did you review this photograph?
Yes, I did.
And could we show a close-up on Exhibit 11? Did you have a chance to view the dash cam from this footage at 8:26:31 a.m. relative to the damage to that right rear taillight?
Yes, I did.
You shared with us that, you can take that down, please. You shared with us that after this time, somewhere around 3:15, you went to Dighton,
Yes.
and you shared your observations when you got out of your truck and walked towards the car.
Yes.
Is there any difference between the damages that you've seen in the video, the photograph, and what you saw that morning?
The only difference is the amount of snow that's impacted on the vehicle. The damage is consistent. The large red lens is missing in every single piece of every single image that I saw.
You mentioned that there was a tow of that car in Dighton that you were there for.
Yes.
Were you aware that video footage was provided to us from that tow?
I was made aware, yes.
I'd like to enter into evidence a video from alarm.com.
No objection.
Did you view the video that was provided to us relative to the right rear taillight?
From alarm.com?
Yes.
Yes.
Court Commissioner, I'd like to play that for the jury.
Okay.
Could you play video 2, please? Could you stop, please? Do you notice anything about the color of the right rear tail light?
Yes, it was white.
Could you continue, please? So did you have an opportunity to review video from CF McCarthy's on the evening of January 28th, 2022?
Yes, I did.
Did you have an opportunity to review videos from the Waterfall Bar on January 28th, 2002?
Yes, I did.
Did I say January 29th, 2022?
Yes.
Did you review all the entire relevant time periods?
Yes, I did.
When you reviewed those videos, were there a number of different things you were looking for?
Yes, there was.
Can you share with the jury what you were looking for?
We were looking for consistency in statements that were already received through interviews. We were looking for description of clothing individuals were wearing at the bars, at those locations. We were looking for any evidence of aggressive behavior, any sort of information we could learn to help us with the investigation. We're also looking to see and document how much alcohol consumption was on the recordings.
When you went through the videos, did you happen to have an opportunity to copy and clip portions of relevant time frames regarding alcohol ingestion?
Yes.
Did you put all of those videos together in a sequence to show the course of the night, times when you could identify alcohol ingestion?
Yes, I did.
Did you put that into a video format for a presentation?
Yes, we did.
I think the presentation may take a few minutes.
All right, Laura, is the council side up for just a second, please? Juries, feel free to stand up.
May I approach?
Yes.
Sir, I'm handing you a CD. Do you recognize that?
Yes, I do.
And what is it?
It is the PowerPoint presentation of the timeline from CF McCarthy's and Waterfall from January 28th, 2022.
I move this into evidence as an exhibit.
Mr. Jackson has no objection?
There's no objection on that.
So I'm handing you 4 photographs. Do you recognize what they are?
Yes, I do.
What are they?
There's still frames from CF McCarthy's on January 28th, 2022 at 9:26:01 as timestamped on the footage cam.
Are there 4 photographs?
There are.
I move these 4 photographs into evidence.
No objection on it.
And here's one exhibit again with the letters, please.
Sir, I'm showing you 4 more photographs. Can you take a look? You recognize?
Yes, I do.
And what are they?
There's still shot photos of the waterfall surveillance footage from the night of 28th into the morning of 29th.
No, I move these 4 photographs into evidence. No objection, Your Honor. Thank you. Your Honor, could I proceed with the PowerPoint presentation?
Yes.
Trooper, I may stop you with a couple points.
Yes, sir.
Could you explain to us what this is?
Yes, from left to right, it is chronological events that took place at CF McCarthy's. This is surveillance video from one of their cameras within the bar. It should be noted that the video is time-stamped 12 minutes behind actual time. So when it says 9:03, when it is 9:03, the frame will be timestamped 2051, which is 8:51. So that's the time discrepancy, which is consistent throughout the surveillance footage.
So the times that are displayed in those arrows, is that the accurate time?
The arrows are the accurate time, and the time stamped 12 minutes behind actual time.
In these videos, are you identifying drinks that were received in drink and had been consumed by the defendant?
Yes. So the first video, as it is labeled, it's the defendant arriving. The next one will be the ordering of the drink and receiving the actual cocktail.
Okay, let's start with the first video at 9:03, please. Can you stop it there? Do you recognize who's in that video?
Yes.
From left to right of people that you recognize and identify the clothing they might be wearing?
From left to right, it'll be Mr. John O'Keefe wearing the gray sweatshirt that was displayed earlier. And then the defendant, who he is trying to embrace with one arm there. I do not know who the other individuals are in the shot.
Okay, thank you. If you could continue, please. If we could proceed to 9:10. What did that show, sir?
It showed the defendant receiving her first tall vase, cylindrical style cocktail glass with a lime in it and a straw to go along with it.
9:27, please. And what was depicted in that video that you saw?
In that video, we see the defendant get handed her second cylindrical tall style cocktail glass while she finished the first one and then picked up the second one.
When you've made a relevant observation in the video, please interject and stop so you can point out for us what you've seen.
Absolutely, sir.
Okay. Next, please, 9:32.
Here the defendant is handed a shot.
Stop, please. Okay.
Right there.
I think we'll just have to play it, and you'll have to speak as you're watching it. It doesn't look like it can be stopped. Sorry, Ms. Gilman.
She's handed a shot by the bartender on the left side of the screen. She picks it up and puts it into her second cocktail glass, making it a third beverage of alcohol content that she's consuming. So right there, we observed Mr. O'Keefe retrieve his phone from his rear left jean pocket, and he put it back. Now the defendant picks up her second cocktail glass with the added shot in it and consumes it.
Could we proceed to the next video, please? This is now 9:45 p.m.
Yes, sir. So the bartender hands over another cocktail glass and some beers. The shot goes into the empty one after it's poured into the new cocktail glass. So that's drink number 4.
Does it also depict Mr. O'Keefe putting his cell phone in his back pocket again?
Yes.
By 9:45, how many drinks have been served to the defendant?
4 drinks.
4 drinks between 9:10 and 9:45?
That's correct. In 35 minutes, 4 drinks.
Could we proceed to the next screen, please? 10:09 p.m.
Here the defendant speaks with the bartender and gestures that she wants a shot.
Objection.
The objection is sustained. I'll strike that.
Mr. O'Keefe on his cell phone again?
Yes, he is. And he puts it in his back pocket. The defendant is showing Mr. O'Keefe the middle finger, and then puts beverages on the bar.
Should I proceed, Your Honor?
Yes.
What is the drink count at that point?
At that point, it's 4 drinks.
Could we have the next?
Mr. O'Keefe brings over a couple of beverages. The defendant retrieves the cocktail glass. A shot glass is picked up by one of the patrons, and the defendant retrieves it from him and places it back on the bar. The defendant is consuming the beverage in her hand, places it on the bar. And then
What time are we at now?
that was 10:34, so we're moving 10:37.
What is the drink count at 10:34?
That is 5 drinks at that point.
Could we play 10:37, please?
The bartender makes 4 shots, top left corner. She's seen preparing the 4 shot glasses. 2 are on the bar top now. She retrieves 2 more.
$10.41, please.
Here, the 4 shot glasses are redistributed. pours it into her drink. She does not consume it from the shot glass.
Okay, I'll strike that.
Next video, please.
Now, as the Mr. O'Keefe and the defendant are getting ready to leave, the defendant is holding the drink in her left hand, continues to sip on it. And the two walk out of the bar without the beverage in their hand being deposited anywhere.
At 10:53, how many drinks have been served to the defendant at this point?
7.
Objection, Your Honor.
I'm going to sustain the objection.
With the strike.
I'll strike.
Next slide. And is
So
this,
I'm going to actually see counsel inside on this.
Ms. Gilman, if you can take us to 10:54, and before we begin, Trooper Bukhenik, is this a different location than all the video we've seen before?
Yes, this is the Waterfall Bar Grill surveillance footage from inside the lounge area. And for reference purposes, this is, at this location, the timestamp is accurate to the real time.
Ms. Gilman, could you begin at 10:54, please?
Here we see the defendant, Mr. O'Keefe, walk into the bar and see their friends and engage in hugs and greetings.
We'll let the Waterfall Bar videos play.
I'm sorry, sir?
We'll let the Waterfall video bars play. We'll just let them play.
Okay.
$11.46, please. $12.06, please. $12.07. 1210, please. Did you see the last person walk out the door on that video clip?
Yes, I did.
And did you identify who that is?
Yes, it's Mr. John O'Keefe. He's wearing the two-tone gray sweatshirt with the sleeves pulled up towards the elbows.
Is that the same clothing that you found at Good Samaritan Hospital when you went to visit?
Yes, it is.
The baseball hat, did you have an opportunity to look at the hat he was wearing?
Yes, I did.
Is that consistent with the hat that you and the group found on February 3rd, 2010?
Yes, it is.
The pants?
Yes, it is.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Showing you Exhibit 108C. This is already introduced the evidence. When you studied that photo, do you notice anything in Mr. O'Keefe's hand?
Yes, in his right hand, he's holding a short style cocktail glass with black drinking straw protruding from it as it is backdropped on the snow on the hood of the car that's parked outside.
Could we show 108C, please? Is that the photo you looked at?
Yes, it is.
Can you point out or explain where you see the drinking straw?
Absolutely. Right there, to the right of the red indicator, you could see the straw protruding out of the glass. Mr. O'Keefe is holding in his right hand.
Thank you. You can take that down, Ms. Kilman. One last matter, Trooper Bukhenik. In 2024, did you obtain ring video for that time period in 2024 from Mr. O'Keefe's home?
Yes, I did.
Did you provide that ring video to a person who works for a company by the name of Aperture?
Yes, we did.
And just very basically, do you know what Aperture does?
Yes, I do.
What do they do?
They assist in scientific fashion to reconstruct, test, and evaluate, analyze vehicle-involved crashes and deaths.
Is Aperture part of the Mass State Police team?
They are not.
Are they a private company?
Yes, they are.
May I approach?
Yes.
Handing in the item to you, do you recognize it?
Yes, I do.
What is it?
It's a ring video from 2024.
So what location?
Meadows Ave.
Evidence? No objection.
Thank you.
I have no further questions.
Okay.